Everybody, good morning and welcome to Against the Public for August 3rd. I'm Dana Lane. Today we're going to go through my top 3 Major League Baseball plays for Saturday, and then we're going to wrap it up with looking at opponents' defensive streaks and what effect it has on bettors looking to cash tickets. After the show, please go to Pickdawgz.com. I'll have my premium Major League Baseball plays locked and loaded. Hopefully we'll get another winning night. Congratulations to everybody that was on board last night. And we'll look for another winning night on our free plays as well. We've been red hot, so hopefully everybody has been able to tail those free plays of late. Jump on my single plays or my Major League Baseball 3-pack for just $49.99. And of course, every individual play and every MLB 3-pack comes with our Pick Dawgz win guarantee that states you must profit or receive an immediate site credit for the purchase price. In addition, there's only one way to get every play that I release, and that's to simply become an all-access member, and you can do that over the next 30 days for less than $11 a day, the next 90 days for less than $10 a day, or better yet, guys, just jump on that annual all-access pass that gives you every play I release from now to this time next year. And really, for the price that it is, you're getting the NFL preseason, NFL regular season, and college football for that price, and then essentially getting the NHL, NBA, college basketball, and Major League Baseball to this time next year for free. So that's kind of how it works out, give or take a few dollars, but incredibly worth it. Get out that credit card. We'll pay it off a little at a time. I think you'll be very satisfied after the year. And of course, next week, we're going to have a full slate of NFL games. You guys know what we did in the NFL last year. You know what we did in the NFL and college football combined. We're going to definitely do that again this year. Make sure you are on board. Don't hesitate. Get on board for next week. And of course, we already have our NFL preseason package locked and loaded on the website. You can get every play I release for $199.99. 56% winners in the NFL last year, 4,000 units won between college and pro football. So if you missed out on last year, please don't miss out again this year. On to your free plays for Friday. Remember, these are probable, so confirm before placing your wager. We'll start things off. Game number 1, 2:20 Eastern Time, 9:01, 9:02, St. Louis Cardinals against the Chicago Cubs. Cubs minus $1.15, 9 under minus 15. Kyle Gibson against Jamison Taillon. We're seeing an overwhelming confidence so far in the betting. Looks like Chicago's getting about 91% of the money, along with 82% of the tickets. I would suggest to shop for this number because there's a wide variety of numbers available. I can see that the Cubs right now are somewhere between $1.15 and $1.21. Looks like that too is heading up, so you want to make sure that you get your wagers in as quickly as possible. Kyle Gibson, 7-4, 3.97 ERA, gets the ball for the Cards, facing Jamison Taillon, 7-6, 3.35, as we mentioned. Over the last 6 innings, check that, last 6 starts, Gibson has given up 18 earned runs in his last 29 and 2/3 innings. It's a 5.46 ERA. Cardinals are just 10-10 when Gibson starts, and they give him 4.35 runs of support. But in half of his starts, Gibson has received 3 runs or less. Taillon needs to bounce back. He got ripped by the Cincinnati Reds in his last outing, but before that, you'd have to go back probably to the first week of June to find an outing that you would say, well, that was not a competitive outing. So he's been really good. I expect him to bounce back. We're going to take the Cubs minus $1.15. Game number 2, 6:10 Eastern Time, 9:15, 9:16. Kansas City Royals against the Detroit Tigers. Michael Lorenzen against Bo Brisky. Kansas City minus $1.38, 8.5 over minus 20. If you don't have a number on this, it's because most books are waiting on the Tigers to make their starter official. But I think Brisky's going to make his 3rd start of the season. He's got 22 appearances out of the bullpen to go with that. And really, make no mistake about this. This is going to be a bullpen game. We need to get out of the first inning because that is where Brisky's had most of his problems this year. He's been hit hard by the Guardians, get hit hard against the Dodgers. I mean, talk about getting thrown into the fire right off the bat in your Major League debut and then in your second game. And now he faces the Kansas City Royals, which certainly have not been a pushover this year. Michael Lorenzen, 5-6, 3.81 ERA, is going to make his first start for the Royals after being acquired from the Texas Rangers. The former Cal State Fullerton star has been anything. If he's been anything this year, it's been inconsistent. He's rotated quality starts back and forth over his last 6 starts, resulting in a 6.20 ERA during that time. The Rangers have dropped 4 of the 6 games that he pitched, and of course he's on his. And they got him out there at the deadline. Tigers are 19-24 as a favorite, minus 10.43 units, but as a dog, they're 33-35, plus 3.76 units. Kansas City 26-27 on the road, minus 10.03 units. We're going to take the underdog here, and we're going to take the Tigers plus the $1.18. Game number 3, 8:40 Eastern Time, 9/11, 9/12. Colorado Rockies against the San Diego Padres. Padres big favorite, minus 215, 8.5 over minus 20. Tanner Gordon against Martin Perez. And note another total that looks a little bit suspect, but we're going to take advantage of that. Tanner Gordon's making just his 4th start. He's still looking for his first win after 3 losses. His numbers have not been great, but the Rockies have only given him 2.33 runs per game, including no runs and 1 run in 2 of his first 3 starts. Perez going to be making his first start for the San Diego Padres after being picked up from the Pittsburgh Pirates. Padres fans can anticipate looking forward to sunflower seed bass after wins. At least that's kind of what he did in Pittsburgh. That was his great contribution to the Pirates. Great guy, though. I mean, if you listen to talk about Perez after he left, just says glowing things about him, as they usually do. But couldn't find his way in Pittsburgh. Kind of battled injuries a little bit over the last month or so. And over his last 5 starts, Perez has allowed 18 earned runs in 25 2/3 innings, 6.31 ERA. He was terrific in that last start against the St. Louis Cardinals, where he allowed just 4 hits in 6 innings, gave up no runs. Did walk 5 though, and added to his total of 13 walks over his last 5 games. I think it was a good move for the Pirates, and we'll see if it's a good move for the Padres. We're going to go under the total, 8.5, under 8.5 minus $1.20. And before we go, I just want to break down. I'm going to try to make this not as confusing as maybe it is. Let's break down a few numbers that are going to show what a team's record is when playing teams that have allowed a select number of runs per game. And I know it sounds confusing, but just hear me out on this. We'll start with teams whose opponents have allowed 4 runs or less in the previous game. What is the record when you bet against teams that allowed 4 runs or less in the previous games? I guess that's to simplify it. Now, the record is 936 and 947, meaning if you went against a team that allowed 4 runs or less, it'd be 11 games under 500, but minus 33.63 units. The best teams to go with in that scenario, the Washington Nationals are 25-25 plus 9.21 units. Philadelphia is 38-17 plus 7.52 units, and Kansas City is 35-26 plus 7.37 units. Now, when you get into 2 games or more where opponents have allowed less than 4 runs, back-to-back games when your opponent has allowed less than 4 runs, if you bet against that team, you would be 546 and 559, minus 9.48 units. But underdogs have done very well in that role, 265 and 346. Now you got to stomach all those losses, but that still does produce a 3.39 units of profit. Now 3 or more games, well, you would be 322 and 321, 1 game over 500, but plus 9.92 units. So we're obviously getting a lot of underdogs when they're going against teams that have allowed 4 runs or less in 3 straight games. Underdogs are 158 and 203 plus 9.21 units. When you're going against teams that have allowed 4 runs or more, or check that, 4 runs or less in 4 straight games, your record would be 204 and 173 plus 46.38 units. Underdogs 107, 113 plus 34.62 units. And then when we get up to 5 or more, you would go against that team, 112 and 99 plus 26.94 units. Dogs 62 and 69 plus 20.04 units. And the theory behind that is certainly the deeper you go into a rotation, the more likely it is you're going to find a pitcher that's going to lose. And we see that when you get into that 3rd game, the 4th game, and the 5th game. And so when you get into those games, teams generally do not stay on that defensive level where they're only allowing 4 or less runs over a long period of time. So the deeper you go into that run, the more likely it is that that run is going to stop. That's as clear as I can make it. Now, when you're going against teams that have allowed 5 or more runs, and the Cleveland Guardians are great at this. They've taken advantage of teams that have been poor defensively. 35-16 plus 13.68 units. San Francisco 28-21 plus 3.93 units. And Milwaukee 27-23 plus 2.82 units. When going against teams the next game after they have allowed 5 or more runs, your record would be 7-15 and 707 minus 46.59 units. Favorites 432 and 348. Pretty good win percentage there, but still minus 48.45 units. 2 games or more, your record would be 320 and 302 minus 13.85 units. Favorites 199 and 153 minus 16.93 units. 3 games or more of allowing 5 or more runs going against those teams, 141 and 144 minus 25.44. See, it works back the other way too. So after you have a bunch of poor games defensively or poor pitching performances, the chances are the more you have them, the less likely you're going to have them in the next game. Pittsburgh 8-2 this year when they're facing teams that have allowed 5 or more runs in 3 straight games. Kansas City 11-4, in Minnesota 3-1. 4 games or more, 64-66, minus 13.58 units. Arizona's 3-1, Cincinnati 7-3 in that scenario. St. Louis is 3-1, and Pittsburgh is 3-2. And when you go against teams that are on a streak of 5 games or more, are giving up 5 runs or more, your record would be 30-29, minus 6.50 units. Dogs are 6-14, minus 7.55 units. So what should we get out of that? Well, I think we go back to our previous look at when we look at it defensively. And I think when we go back to, obviously what jumps out here is when we go against teams that have allowed less than 4 runs in games, 3 straight games, 4 straight games, or 5 straight games, we see a tremendous profit going against those teams. So that's what I would say is your handicapping tip of the day, is look for teams that are on a little bit of a run defensively, but look for those to stop. And the good thing about that is chances are you're going to get those teams as an underdog to stop those trends. So I hope that's not too confusing, but the moral of the story is the longer you go on a run defensively, the longer it goes, the more likely it is that it's going to stop. So look for games 3, 4, and 5 and above to go against those trends. I'll explain a little bit more if you have any more questions about that. But if you like me to research anything, just drop me a note on the YouTube channel. I'll get to it for sure. I love going through all the little questions that you throw at me. It's tons of fun. That does it for today's Saturday free plays and handicapping tip of the day. Please go to pickdawgz.com. Get involved with one of my many available packages. And guys, if you haven't been to the website of late, get on there now, because the preseason football package is up there. I've had reduced passes because every time we hit the first of the month, I always reduce or prorate the season passes. So we got them in the NFL in the preseason, and then also Major League Baseball is up there as well. WNBA, I think, is up there as too. Here's your Saturday free play recap. Chicago Cubs minus $1.15, Detroit plus $1.18, and Colorado San Diego under 8.5 minus $1.20. That does it for today's show. Thank you to everyone who continues to watch on a daily basis. Please hit the like and subscribe button. I appreciate that. I haven't been pushing that of late, but I see other people that do, so I will as well. I mean, we got almost 2,000 people watching it, so just hit the like or subscribe button. I appreciate that. For Against the Public, I'm Dana Lane. All the best to you and your wagers on Saturday.